From now on I will be like this all of the time. Though I have said that so many times. I was under his scrutiny, although he failed to break me. He laid out his theories, everyone that he got. He tried his best to stay strong and resilient. He does not view things as they are, but he views them as they fit into a plan. He looks prophetic as he theorizes my demise, but he is pathetic and he is nothing more. But it could not break me. 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 Could not break me. It will never break me. Could not break me. It will never break me. He looks so distraught as all his efforts amount to nothing. I sit back and watch his 69 mind and full of it. Every quote and just eats itself with a different perspective. Recycles points with a different tone of voice. From a lack of any reaction, he begins to become complacent. I have your hand now. All I need to do is speak. I said I know if you wish, but please first take your hands off your dick. I know if you wish, but please first take your hands off your dick. He would not. He could not. You could not. You would not. You could not. You would not. You could not break me. You could never break me. You could not break me. You could never break
You know, thought we'd start things off in a kind of chill way on this week's episode of Roots Grooves with me, Jay Purcell.
Whoa, hey, everyone wake up. Everyone woken?
Yeah.
I'm woken up now. Welcome,
Jesse Quigley.
Jay Purcell. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Roots to Grooves. Today we're talking about if David Byrne from Talking Heads was on drugs as a young man.
Okay.
And just went real crazy with his music.
Okay.
Far past the reaches of his pop music that he came out with.
Okay.
His new wave band, Talking Heads.
Yeah.
David Byrne on drugs. That's what I keep hearing.
Have you? Did you come up with this, or have you heard of this?
Well, they definitely have a little bit of self-awareness.
Yeah.
We're talking about Black Midi, the
Black
band.
Midi. Yeah.
They have some self-awareness. They have a song called Talking Heads.
Oh.
So I think they're pretty self-aware of this.
Yeah.
Not that they're trying to be this or that.
Yeah.
They're definitely paving their own way.
Yeah. Definitely seen.
But I think they're taking a strong influence from David Byrne and Talking Heads.
the lead guy from Black Midi, Geordie Greep, has
That's
been
right.
rocking a beige suit or a tan suit.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of David Byrne.
That's
a bit,
I think
yeah.
that's a staple of,
Yeah.
at least on some of his like huge videos that are posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
And some of his big shows. I don't know too much about Talking Heads,
Yeah.
but I think that he was known to wear that
Definitely.
that beige suit and
Yeah.
and yell and be wild and
Yeah.
eccentric.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think that's what these guys got going on. We're talking about Black Midi, the band,
Yeah.
English rock band, formed in 2017. These are guys,
Yeah.
new kids on the block,
Yeah.
pretty young,
Yeah. Could be
very energetic.
Very energetic. Could be described as experimental rock, math rock, prog rock, noise, post punk,
Noise punk.
noise punk. Yeah. And they're currently a three-piece. Like I said, Geordie Creep, not Creep. Sorry,
Oh, hey, that's mean. He's not a creep. He's not a creep. Not that I know of.
Geordie Greep on vocals and guitar, Cameron Picton on vocals, bass and synth, Morgan Simpson on the drums, and until recently, Matt Kwasniewski-Kelvin on vocals and guitar. He took a hiatus recently, they said due to mental health issues, which they didn't go into detail about. He's not on the latest album, and they haven't really talked about it, and they also haven't been asked about it, which I think is kind of respectful, considering that maybe Matt is going through some things, and they didn't say he's left the band, but he's just on hiatus. He's taking a break, taking some time out for himself.
In fact, they still include him like in the band. He's listed, but in parentheses on hiatus.
Yeah.
But like you said, that's very respectful because we should all be super aware of mental illness or whatever deficiencies.
Yeah.
Just our mental state as humans in general.
Exactly.
And we're all going through different stuff at different times, and who knows what he's going through with what the band's going through or what Matt is going through.
Yeah.
But props to him for taking the time off to get that mental state in check.
Exactly. And
That's a healthy choice.
Getting the support from his band members as well.
100%.
Yeah, which is totally cool. So, but yeah, I mean, like you say, these guys have been around since 2017 as a band. They've released so far 2 albums plus a smattering of
smattering or spattering.
I don't know.
We start to question it, and then we lose all meaning.
A spattering of EPs and live recordings and various things here and there, sort of thing. But 2 solid studio albums so far since 2017, and these guys are super young. They're like 20-somethings. That they sort of, when you look at some of their photos, they kind of remind me of Bad Bad Not Good in some ways. Like just sort of like young guys that are super fucking talented at the instruments and coming together and creating the most complex shit you've ever heard. Bad Bad Not Good, I think, do that in a sort of a jazz sense,
right?
Like, and these guys, Black Midi, are doing it in a kind of rock sense, I guess, but they're all over the map. You can't, like, I think this is one group that just, they explore so many genres, and sometimes so many genres within one song. I feel like
I mean, props to these guys for being completely unafraid to make crazy noises with their voices and their instruments, and altogether making albums that are just labeled from whoever's using these words, noise, punk, thrash. It's pretty wild. And props to them for not being just trying to make pop music, even though I resent my own statement that I just said, because I think pop music is pretty intricate and a delicate process to make. Like pop music is seen as like easy or basic, simple sometimes. In fact, I think it's very hard to make good pop music.
Well, they have like 30 songwriters on some of the pop hits that are out there,
exactly,
right? Because they're trying to figure it out.
And they go through 10, 20 iterations of the same track, or one track is, hey, here's one artist A, try this song, do a whole demo, record it, sing it, and we'll see what we think. Oh no, nah, they don't want it, doesn't sound good, try another artist, send the song to another artist, multiple times, different directors, producers, I don't know if you could say directors, but directors in music, but basically the same thing. Different engineers, vocal coaches, whatever. It goes through a process.
Complex.
And it's not just, I wrote a song in 5 minutes. It's a mega hit. Anyway, it's not what we're talking about.
That is music by committee, though, sometimes, don't you think? I don't know.
Like, no, 100%. I mean, in the greater scheme of things, a lot of music is by committee, because these different iterations through different decades is like a slow, straining process of stuff that we want, which is why I sometimes think, to an extent, music is subjective. I mean, it's obviously subjective, but there is an objectivity to it.
Right.
Because the good stuff we still listen to. That's why the Rolling Stones are still on top. The Beatles are still on top. They're still in the conversation today, and they're still an influence on modern music. Because it's stayed at the top. It's risen. The fine stuff has risen to the top, and it's still good. And there's some objectivity to that, I feel like. Whether it's quantifiable or not. Anyway. Black Midi.
Black Midi.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. Because what is Black Midi? They just ran a band name? No. Black Midi is a whole genre of music. It has nothing to do with Black Midi, the band who we're talking about today. It's a different style of music. So basically, I mean, MIDI. What's MIDI? It's information. It's data. In a computer.
In the musical sense, it's how you translate like a synth MIDI keyboard into notes and sounds on the computer, kind of thing.
100%. So people are using MIDI in their homes. MIDI is used in studios. Literally everybody in the industry, in the music industry, uses it. It's just like data, just like anybody else. If you use a computer, you're sending data. It's that same kind of thing that you can send around and then make it come out of a speaker. And
fun fact, I think now it's easier to use MIDI because you just have to plug a USB cord into your computer. But back in the day, they had these MIDI cables and these MIDI inputs and outputs on gear. You still see them on pieces of gear. I was so perplexed by it growing up, like in late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
I couldn't work it out. I was like, this is so complicated, man. Now it's easy. Now you just plug the USB into thing, and
now that
that's
we have
done.
easier access, it feels easier.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing for me, just using computers in general and how that data is organized and sent and traded.
Yeah.
I'll probably never fully understand
Ones and zeros.
Yeah, electricity, ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Vibrations.
Well, that's the thing. You don't need to understand it right now. You just need to know
what to plug in to make it
exactly.
the sounds come out, which is fine,
Yeah,
which is great. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
So that's MIDI.
So that's MIDI, and then black MIDI.
Yeah.
A style of music, and I guess the black refers to. I'll go backwards and I'll explain the MIDI part of it, because basically these people, these artists creating black MIDI music are using MIDI information and just stacking this information on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like layers and layers of information, as if you lay a track down and then play another track on top of it, and then another track on top of it.
Yeah.
Thousands of times.
Millions. Yeah.
and up to trillions.
Yeah. And there's a image I'll put on the screen right now for the YouTube viewers. Bam. This is an example of sheet music that I saw from the Wikipedia page. And it's just got all these notes just like layered up on top. It looks insane. I've never seen sheet music like that before.
Is that playable? Could you give that to a pianist, and what would they even think?
No, you probably need 1,000 piano players or something like that. This is why it only works with MIDI, because you can program all of these different layers. I don't even know what this sounds like. I haven't listened to any. It sounds ghastly to me.
I went on a binge last night.
How did it sound?
Some of it sounded kind of cool. Some of it sounded like 8-bit, music, like old Mario video game, Nintendo music.
Kind of like Glass Animals first. Albums or something like that.
Yeah. Like kind of digital.
Yeah.
But then, there's more and more stuff.
Polish Ambassador. Sorry, I got it wrong. Polish Ambassador was a guy that did the 8-bit things.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I take back when I was agreeing with you before that. For the sake of conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this MIDI information data, it's just like a track in Pro Tools or Logic, and they're stacking it on top of each other.
Yeah.
And they can manipulate it just like any other, bit of information in a DAW.
Yeah.
Digital audio workstation.
Yeah.
But so this stuff is stacked on top of each other, and it just gives it this rich, really rich sound, because it's notes on notes on notes. And so some of these notes are stacked on top of each other, creating a sound that sounds like one note. And so you get these melodies, and this is the music. And I think the black part of black MIDI comes from when your computer can't process so much information from one source, one track, and it just kind of blends into almost nothing. It's just like white noise into like it can't handle it.
Wow.
And so it turns into a blur.
These people are intentionally like overloading the computer to see if it can like interpolate any of this or something like that. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And I just discovered this because of Jay's choice, Black Midi, the band we're talking about today. Has nothing to do with Black Midi, the genre.
Yeah, they said one of the band members came across this. I think it's a Japanese thing, right? Is it? Black Midi? Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They came across this, and they were just like, "Oh, this is a cool name for a band, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And they said they've spent less than 5 minutes actually like looking into. You've probably spent more time looking into the Black Midi genre than Black Midi the band have.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And more than I have as well.
I recommend stopping by YouTube. Just look up Black Midi. There's a couple of YouTube videos that explain it and show you examples.
Okay.
Because it's interesting to know about it.
Yeah.
That it's a thing that people are doing.
Yeah, we didn't, like last week, you didn't even know this thing existed, right? Now you've watched a bunch of YouTube videos.
It's a whole world. I recommend staying up late at night, and then before you go to bed, just put on some Black Midi.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
Zone out.
Yeah.
See what you get. See how it makes you feel.
Very good.
But it's cool. Interesting stuff. Nothing to do with Black Midi, the band who we're talking about, who is
but that's the origin of the name at least.
But that's where they got the name.
Yeah.
And it's not every day there's a band we talk about that has such a big backstory
of a name. Yeah.
It's like calling your band prog rock.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a
like
whole
genre,
world of music.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I just want to shout out Kyle Nelson from LA. He goes by the name as Untitled 1995. It was because of him that I found out about Black Midi.
Nice.
And he did a guest mix on Signl quite a while ago, May 2020. It's up on our site. He did a real good mix. I don't think he put Black Midi in that mix, but he shared something on Instagram, and it was part of like the first track we played tonight, Doctor, from their album Schlagenheim. And Carl put this on an Instagram video, and I was just like, what the? I like messaged him through. I was like, what is this? Because it was like the first part of the song, and it sounded real funky, crazy. And I was like, he told me the band name. I looked them up, and then I was like, whoa, okay, this isn't what I thought. Like, you know, the snippet I heard was kind of funky and cool, and then when I listened to the rest of the material, it was like, oh, this is kind of like metal or something. That's what I thought on first listen. More recently, like for this show as well, I've listened to more of their stuff, and it's not just metal. There's that sort of vibe in there, I think, that you could kind of say is a little bit like, especially with Geordie's vocals, that sort of weird 70s experimental prog rock type vibe sort of thing.
But it has the intensity of metal.
It does, yeah. It does, yeah.
So I can see that influence for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not heavy metal. You know, it doesn't have a heavy vibe, but it has just a very intense vibe.
Well, this is the thing I said off camera before we started filming. It's like sometimes like when we do an episode of Roots to Grooves where I have an idea of who an artist might be just based on their music without knowing anything about them, and then going to research them and finding out more about them and who they are, and which is always a really great revelation to find the people behind the music and stuff like that. But yeah, for this group, Black Midi, like I felt that their music was so intimidating that I thought they were going to be like some hardcore, like intimidating, like 30-year-old somethings or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're not at all. They're like 20-something, fresh on the scene, from London, super down-to-earth, normal guys. Like,
they seem super chill.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're all, I think they graduated college.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one thing. They all went to BRIT school.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where they met in 2017, I think.
It's a performing arts and technology school.
Which we've talked about before, because King Krule went there.
That's the same school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently also Adele went there, and Amy Winehouse.
So we got some big names.
Yeah.
You met Amy Winehouse, remember?
I met Amy Winehouse.
You might have told that story on the show already.
Off camera, I think. But she was playing at this place called the Rupert Street Bar. She wasn't actually playing there. It was like this group of musicians that were session musicians that played with like some big artists, and it was kind of like their open jam night type thing.
Kind of an open mic situation.
Yeah, so these guys were playing there, and then I heard the rumor that Amy Winehouse was going to show up. She did, and she sang a couple of songs. Like, I can't even remember what it was. It was probably just like part of a jam or something. And then, I went up. I think before she went up the stage, I walked up to her and I said, "So you're gonna go do your thing then?" That was and then she looked at me all strangely. But she was nice after that. Yeah, she's like, "Who are you and why are you asking me that?" No, but she was actually a really nice person, and she said, "Oh, I don't know, like, because my friends want me to go off to do this party or something like that." So that's what she said to me.
I love that question. If I ever meet anybody, the next famous person I meet, like, I'm gonna ask them, "So you're gonna do your thing?
You're gonna go do your thing?
Meet a professional baseball player? Like,
yeah,
you gonna do your thing tonight?" Or
Jesus, I was young,
I love it.
But
a lot of people would have been too scared to say anything at all.
I guess, yeah. But it was weird though, because she had lots of like people going up to her and like trying to share their numbers, and some of those people.
Yeah, you didn't come up as a fanboy like, bow down to you, give me an autograph, please. I love you. You're just like, what, are you gonna go sing or something?
You can go sing or something?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you think you could sing or what?
Yeah.
Amy?
I actually thought, I was like, if I could get in a conversation, I'd be like, "Do you need a drummer in your band?" That's where my head was at.
Right.
But yeah.
You shot your shot.
Yeah.
Best thing you could have done.
Yeah.
You could have been drumming for Amy Winehouse at some point.
Could have been, but
Definitely not. That chance is gone now.
Yeah. Went down a different route. Now I'm here. This wouldn't have happened. If I'd played drum for Amy Winehouse, I don't know if I would be here right
I think
now,
it
so-
would have happened. Unfortunately, the late Amy Winehouse has passed.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that got in Jay's way.
Yeah. But there you go. And yeah, so this Brit school is like a big place where all these people go to. It's in Croydon in London.
Croydon.
Yeah. It's I used to go shopping there with my mum when I was like real young in Croydon. And it's apparently the school is free to attend. No tuition
so?
fees. Yeah. You have to do an audition to get in though. And they do different things there because I think King Krule was studying art at Brit school, but these guys from Black Midi were studying music. So that's interesting that King Krule didn't even study music at Brit school. He was doing visual art or something instead. So
It seems like a pretty cool school where a lot of big names are coming out of.
yeah.
Apparently they have a mandate. I don't know, maybe that's a heavy word, but it says mandate to provide education and vocational training for performing arts, media, art, and design, and the technologies that make it possible.
Yeah.
So
No, it sounds great. Like they take it very seriously, I think. And like the guys from Black Midi were saying that like it's a great place to go to for any field that you want to go into in music. If you want to be a sound engineer or a producer or a live engineer or a musician or a session musician, they said it was really good. It really like helped them figure out everything. And he said like I think Geordie was saying about this, that they really sort of were able to make all of their mistakes and do all of their stupid stuff whilst at school instead of doing it out in the real world kind of thing.
yeah,
He said that this type of stuff that you would normally do if you just like left high school and then started a band and did all these crappy shows and bad songs that you weren't really knowing how to write music at and stuff. They said they kind of got that all out of their system whilst going to the school. And they had these rehearsal rooms that they could just go into and play and do whatever. And it's kind of like Bad Not Good on the other side of the world in Canada, when they went to their school. And I think it was in Canada they went to school. Was it New York? I can't remember.
I think it was New York.
Yeah. And they were just able to like just go into these rooms and play for hours and
Get
figure
this
out the
energy
stuff.
out. Just try ideas.
Yeah.
Learn from it. Make mistakes.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's what this Brit school.
Yeah.
This Brit school.
This some kind of Brit school.
But it sounds like that's what they're all about, and they give these
Yeah.
people an opportunity to get that
Yeah.
out of their system. Just make mistakes. Don't do it out on stage with your name attached to it. Do it in our name.
Yeah.
We won't tell anybody.
Whilst also educating them on the chops of the industry. And
Yeah.
Sounds
And the
like a great-
technologies that you need to
Exactly,
make
yeah.
it happen. So, I mean, awesome. Seems like it's working for them.
I'm like, damn, like maybe if I have a kid, I should send this kid to the Brit school like in London.
Hey, it's not too late for us to go. Maybe we'll hit it.
Yeah, exactly. Go and audition.
So
So these guys met there, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and they're basically new. They're pretty new on the scene, coming out with their own music. On the 8th of June, 2018, just a couple of years ago, they released their debut single. I'm guessing "Boom Boom Boom." Quote. It's spelled BM, one word.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I just saw BM, but you might be right. Boom, boom, boom.
That's
Yeah.
just a guess.
Yeah.
With producer Dan Carey,
Yeah.
and he has a label called Speedy Wonderground.
Yep.
And so he helped him produce it. And I guess he's worked with some cool people. I'm trying to see if I had some notes. I'll try to find it later. But he's worked with some good artists. I
Yeah.
believe.
And I think he saw them play at this Brixton venue called the Windmill, because after they'd sort of ending school and stuff and forming this band, basically, I think it was Geordie said that he like emailed every venue in London to try and get a gig. And he said the Windmill was like one of the only venues that like messaged back kind of thing. So they got a gig there. And then they ended up getting invited to have like a residency there, and they sort of played there once a week. And they did that in June of 2017, and it was at one of these shows that Dan Carey, the producer, saw them play and wanted to offer to like produce like some recordings for them kind of thing. Because at that point they hadn't done anything in the studio at all. They just purely live. I don't know if they even recorded any demos or anything like that themselves.
Yeah. I think that first thing was basically the first real recording that they made with that producer. Yeah. And so they were off to a great start, but they were putting in their work, doing this residency and playing live and forming everything DIY. Organizing everything by themselves.
Yeah.
So, testament to their own willpower
Yeah.
and, making their own opportunities.
Yeah.
Or, being ready for opportunities.
Exactly, yeah.
And so they were doing it right.
Yeah. And I had to text my dad earlier because I thought I might have played the Windmill at some point in my life, but apparently not. He said
Maybe you have.
Said he didn't. I played other venues in Brixton, but not the Windmill. So, yeah.
It's not too late. Let's go play.
Let's go. We could probably get a
It's
gig
still
there,
around, yeah?
Yeah, still doing. I think.
Obviously, it's not that.
I think they've had some issues, and the band has like helped do some fundraisers for the venue to keep it going and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently it's it's had a resurgence. Like it's been around for a long time, and then it had some like dead eras in like the 90s and early 2000s before they sort of brought back the live music thing. And yeah, Black Midi were there, and I think like it's kind of crazy. Like I think the first sort of actual release of anything of Black Midi was in 2018, and it was a live recording done at this venue, the Windmill, with a guy called Damo Suzuki, who was the former lead singer for Can, who's which is a really like legendary sort of prog rock band. And when we talked about Kikugo and Moyo, they mentioned them. I think we played a bit of a Can track from like the 70s kind of thing.
Okay.
So Black Midi were able to like do a show with this guy, and they released it on Bandcamp, and it's 2 tracks, each one is 19 minutes long. And I haven't heard any of it yet, so but I think they put it on cassette tape. That's how
that was the main
it.
way they released
That's
it.
the main way they released that, was on cassette tape, yeah. But now it's on Bandcamp, so you can go there and check it out. But yeah, anyway, so just wanted to get that out of my system.
No, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
I think we should play a track. Let's give the people another listen to what these guys are about.
Should we do Boom Boom Boom?
If you got that one loaded up, let's do it. Yeah, it's perfect.
First release, official release of Black Midi.
She moves with a purpose. What a magnificent purpose. Moves with a purpose. Moves with a purpose. Oh, what a purpose. Oh, what a purpose. Oh, what a magnificent purpose. And they find different ways to suck themselves off. She does not care at all. She moves with a purpose. She moves with a purpose. And it is all such a purpose, it is such a purpose, it is so, what a magnificent purpose. Move with a purpose. It is such a purpose, it is such a purpose, it is such a purpose, it is such a magnificent purpose. It is so magnificent. She moves with such a purpose, it is so magnificent, it is a magnificent purpose, it is a magnificent purpose. She moves with a purpose. She still moves with a purpose. Moves with a purpose. It's so magnificent. It is so magnificent. It is so magnificent. And they find different ways to suck themselves off. But she does not care at all. She moves with a purpose. She moves with a purpose. purpose, and it is such a purpose, it is such a purpose, it is so magnificent, it is such a purpose. Oh, what a purpose! It is such a purpose, it is so magnificent, it is such a magnificent purpose, it is such a purpose, it is so... And she moves with a purpose, and she moves with a purpose, with a purpose, and it's so magnificent, so magnificent. It is such a magnificent purpose. And they find different ways to suck themselves off, but she does not care at all. She moves with a purpose.
Yeah, so if there was ever a debut single to release, you know, that's a hit.
I mean, it's great. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's some of it, you know, like honestly, from my perspective, not throwing any shade, but some of it's not an easy listen.
No, it's challenging.
Yeah, it's challenging, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like a challenge. I think that's great. One of the other bands that like that song in particular reminds me of Primus.
Oh yeah, yeah. Primus are very much kind of in the same vein. I feel
Like indulgent in the energy. Like they're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna play this groove right here.
Yeah.
Just so obviously over and over, and
Yeah.
this fat sound, just unapologetically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like just lean into that wild energy. And you know, Primus does that a lot too with their visuals too, to the point where it almost seems like comical.
Yeah.
Or, like I said, indulgent
Yeah.
and exaggerated.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I was trying to think, because I did back in the day get a Primus album. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Park Soda is one of their albums. Because I got a CD copy of it, and it was just intense. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, it's intense.
And then later, like, they hit the mainstream because they did the South Park theme tune.
Right. That's a cool fun fact that I don't think a lot of people know.
Yeah. But
Primus did South Park
yeah,
intro song.
yeah, there you go. And they have a ton of albums out. Their last one was in 2017, it looks like. And they've still been around and doing stuff.
I think they've still been touring.
Yeah, and they're crazy. It's 3-piece, you know, it's very art rock. Yeah, challenging things like you were
And we're
saying.
talking about Primus, right?
Yeah, Primus, yeah.
I think, I mean, I was introduced to Primus from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4,
Okay, yeah.
the video game on PlayStation.
There's a song in on the game. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Just
yeah.
a cool jam. I can't, Jimmy was a race car driver.
Okay.
And it's just,
One of their more hooky songs.
yeah, I think
or
one of the
something
more
like
hooky songs.
Yeah.
A little more
Yeah.
approachable
that. Right.
tunes,
Yeah,
which is good.
yeah.
And it definitely fit the genre. And I mean, I don't know, they're cool. They got
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff, a lot of good bass lines,
Yeah,
a lot of funky rhythms,
definitely, yeah.
and a lot of attitude that they just don't care what you think. And that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. And for Black Midi, I will say like Geordie's vocals sometimes to me sound a little bit like the works of a rambling crazy man.
Yeah, yeah, like something you hear as you're walking down,
Yeah, down
like
the street,
downtown, and some.
yeah, especially around here, Pioneer Square. We have some crazies around here. I'm not saying that Geordie has mental health issues of Black
No,
Midi, but
not what we're saying.
I'm just saying that his vocal stylings and his lyrics and delivery are kind of like a little bit crazy.
No, but
you know.
he's matching the energy with the music.
Yeah,
which is like intense.
Yeah,
And sometimes almost incoherent.
yeah,
You know, and he's doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
He's not a crazy guy
No.
with a microphone.
No.
He's delivering these things, and that's a cool part of this art that they're doing.
yeah,
They're creating this wild energy,
yeah,
proactively.
yeah,
That's what they're going for, and they're
Definitely,
achieving it,
yeah.
and that's really awesome.
Yeah, and they're definitely like Geordie, he has like an interesting accent just when he's talking. Like I was trying to sort of place his accent because I wasn't sure if he's actually from the UK or London and just has a strong sort of accent, or whether he's like from somewhere else originally. But I couldn't find any information about where he's from originally. So, but he doesn't, even just when he's talking, he has a very sort of interesting way of delivering like words and stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
but
yeah.
it's very cool. So it's kind of endearing. It's kind of like I want to hear him talk more. I want to hear him do like a spoken word book or something like that. Or,
He does have that vibe where it's like
Yeah.
no matter what he's talking about, he
Yeah.
draws in your attention. It's like the way
Yeah.
he speaks, like you said,
Yeah.
and the way the delivery, the words he chooses,
Yeah.
and the perspective he's coming from is like, what
Yeah.
tell me more.
Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
talking about?
No, he definitely has a good perspective that comes out, and the minimal things I've seen him do. They don't have too many interviews out there. They did a long one with Anthony Fantano.
I watched that one.
Yeah,
that was a good interview.
Needle drop.
Where they came on, they
Playing
started
it.
the interview
Yeah.
playing Back in Black.
Yeah,
Like they're like set up for an interview on a
Yeah.
webcam,
Yeah,
so they're
yeah.
not in the same studio.
yeah.
And they're playing this music, but it doesn't even come through. They're so loud,
Yeah,
That's
it's overloading the mic or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
which is funny and ironic because Black Midi,
Yeah.
that happens in Black Midi
Right.
genre music,
There you go,
where it's
yeah.
like overloaded
Yeah.
information that the computer can't handle.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like they're just Anthony Fantano's like laughing,
Yeah.
and you can't hear anything because it's
Yeah.
completely overloaded
Yeah.
to where the mic just gives out.
Yeah.
Basically, and it comes back every once in a while if they lower the volume a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun interview. They played like they got up a couple times
Yeah. That was good.
to play, and again same thing happened.
Yeah. Definitely. And yeah, and Geordie's wearing a suit in there, and the other guys are not. They're just casually dressed, and all that.
Yeah, just another testament to his
Yeah.
eccentricity,
Yeah. And they did
style.
Black Midi did do a recent thing for KEXP. Was it Sessions at Home or something like that? KEXP are calling it. Where they interviewed them remotely on Zoom, and then they played a special in studio performance that Black Midi recorded in London, I think, by themselves. It's from some tracks from the new album. They have like some horns in there and stuff like that. Geordie's wearing a suit again as well. It's really great performance. Like I encourage everyone to go watch that, especially because Black Midi have been talking about like the first album was just very live and improvised. They sort of wrote music in a sort of improvisational jam sense kind of thing. And for the new album, they've gone sort of away from the improvisation and more towards like trying to write things a little bit more intentionally or specifically, more methodically, yeah. And they said about that, that they the first album was the first time they were in a studio. The second album was they just basically didn't really care about whether it could be played live or not, as like one of the things they said. They sort of just explored as much as they could do in the studio, adding instruments that weren't traditional to their lineup or available to them to play live and stuff like that. So the KEXP thing's a really good example of like how they've really pulled that off in a really good way with the new material. But they also said that it might not be that way on tour. Like they might do some shows as just a 3-piece. They might have like 5 people and some horns and strings. He said they might do a 20-piece. They don't really know. They're sort of still exploring how they could take it live. Also because COVID happened during this whole thing, and
basically as they're coming up as a band, and kind of right in the middle of their come up. So obviously that's affecting them, but also providing some opportunities. Like they said in that interview with Fantano, I can't remember who they were talking about or what they were referencing, but basically how COVID is giving them opportunity. Oh, they said like the Beatles. When the Beatles went into like we're not touring anymore. We're just creating albums in studio for like the latter half of their career. The second half of their career or whatever, and that's what kind of what they're getting the opportunity to do, which is they can't tour as much as they were or wanted to, but it is giving them opportunity, and all these different artists around the world the opportunity to just record and create. And that's valuable.
And they're embracing it. They're saying that, they can't tour, but they have the luxury of being able to record. And they said that's a good thing because it's allowing them to take the time out to focus on that, to write, to record, to find new techniques. Like I think Morgan Simpson, the drummer, was saying that in the studio, he started to sort of find different ways of hitting the drums, where he said live on tour, he was just like cracking the snare drum kind of thing. He said in the studio, he's finding things where it's like, I could have a different sound if I just used the tip of the stick in the middle of the drum. And, just these little things that might not seem much to the casual listener, but to a music creator or whatever, and to them is becoming instrumental, excuse the pun, to like, create sort of and write in new ways kind of thing. Like,
I think that's one of the things they're doing is not only like they're not just trying to create music. They're more about like how we're doing it is what's important. And what's included in the way we're doing it and our method and our process. Which I think is huge. If you can recognize that things are a process and that nothing's ever the same. Everything's always changing. You always constantly adapt. It's the way you do things that give it meaning. Not just what you're trying to create and if you get there or not. And so I think that's a cool perspective. And these guys are really creative and really energetic.
Definitely,
And it creates a cool, cacophony of sounds. And I don't know how in depth we went into this, but Schlagenheim was 2019, their debut full length album. Produced by Carey.
Dan Carey.
Okay, I was like, it's not Drew Carey.
No. Who owns the Sounders, or did
Does he?
at some point.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, I think when the Sounders, he made them be a thing from nowhere.
Whose stadium is a stone's throw away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So cool. Schlagenheim, 2019. And then their latest album, 2021, Cavalcade. Which is like more of the same energy. Like I feel like they're just coming up onto this sound that they've created. It's like, hyper energetic noise punk rock. And it's good. And one of the things I want to point out is, is that cool? We're talking about Cavalcade now?
Yeah.
I don't know. We just jumped to it. If that's cool with everybody, if that's cool with you guys out there listening, thank you.
Yeah, because I got some interesting tracks to play from this as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's play one of those right now. I just want to point out their album art is super cool. It's pretty kind of psychedelic and it's pretty trippy. And it's definitely worth looking at. I think all their album work has been done by the same guy. I can't remember his name. I wish I could shout him out right now, but I didn't. We're not talking about the artist. We're talking about the music. Here on Roots to Grooves.
Yeah, they said about that because Anthony Fantano asked them about the artwork. Is it like intentional and stuff like that? And Geordie was like, no, it's like it was both done by the same guy, but they just found someone they liked and let them do whatever they want. Geordie said that about the music videos as well, in more than one interview I've seen, where he, he said You know, he doesn't like design by committee kind of thing. You know, he said for their music videos, they just like find someone they like, and give them the money. He just keeps saying, he said it more than once, just like, just give them the money and let them do whatever they want, you know, because yeah, they don't know anything about that world. They don't want to like say anything about, like, they just want to hire someone that's good and give them the trust them to do it.
I think what they're trying to get at is once they have an idea, or like if somebody has an idea for the artwork, it's better to let them go the full way and like have everything they want, the colors, the composition, and they can be as creative as they want to achieve what they're going for. But if everyone by committee, like you said, like, oh, there should be a little more blue, or ooh, make a little different shape in that corner, then it starts to be, sometimes it could seem like it's watered down, because we're trying to get a little bit of your idea, a little bit of your idea,
right? And
it's not quite creating anything super viscerally, you know, like intense. But if you let one person go all the way with their vision, it's going to be more poignant.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that's basically what I got out of what they were saying.
Yeah.
So it's cool. The album art is super cool on both these full-length albums. Let's get a track off Cavalcade, see what we got.
Yeah, and before we do that, a little bit more foreshadowing.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about Morgan Simpson, the drummer, after we play this track. And so I'm going to play, well, let me see. I was going to play, let me just throw this one in here because it's different, because we were talking about his vocals a little while ago. Yeah, they had this track called Marlene Dietrich, and his vocals on this, I was like, is this him or is this someone completely different? And you'll see what I mean when we play this track.
So let's listen, and then we'll talk.
Under soft lights with a take-back face, our soft-spoken queen takes her place on the stage. As the big curtains open, the last troops running quick for the one and only Marlene Dietrich. She whispers demurely from the Blue Angel, the song we all know, the one that we'd pay for, fills the hall tight and pulls at our hearts and puts in her place the girl she once was. And that suit of 33, soundtrack by disapproving commentary, and my shuddering neighbor turns and roughly rouses me, says, while a kiss on the lips may not make a fog a prince, an orgasm renders any queen a witch. Metamorphosis exists. Damn all us idiots, damn us till death, relentlessly trying to untie our knots of rivers and roads that defy all sense. But her hands loosen all, and her voice brings you youth. Her cheeks cradle the holy breath, the pump, the lungs of her Macumessa. And she beats the heart of her Macumessa. And she walks the stage with her Macumessa. And she makes us smile with her Macumessa.
Different, right?
Yeah, that is a different vibe, but kind of, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like he's rocking like a loungy
Yeah.
kind of.
He almost sounds like Aretha Franklin or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's also probably one of their shortest and most straightforward songs.
Yeah,
It's like
short
3
and
minutes.
sweet.
Yeah.
It's not so thrashy and energetic. It's kind of subdued and chill.
Yeah.
Kind of, focused more on the melody
Yeah.
and the song rather than the intense instrumentation.
Yeah.
So cool to see another side of this band.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking about Black Midi
Black Midi.
here on Mr. Grooves.
And so their drummer, Morgan Simpson, apparently won Best Drummer of the Year at some point. And I tried to Google it and I couldn't find that. But what I did find, and I showed you this before we went on air, is there's a page on the Drummer Zone website. If you just type in Morgan Simpson Drummer of the Year, and you can find all of these old videos of Morgan as a kid playing drums, playing covers for like what was it, like Kanye West and stuff like that.
And so, I mean, he looked like, you showed me this video, he looked like he was 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's super young. And
Like he's a prodigy.
and he has a YouTube channel, just Morgan Simpson on YouTube. And he's got a bunch of followers now, but all of his videos go all the way back to like 9 years ago when he was a kid. Doing Beyonce covers, Rihanna covers, and Jay-Z and all that, and he's like really good. And I just wanted to throw that out there because it's crazy. Because I just found this literally before we started recording, and I was like to Jesse, "Is this the same guy? Mm-hmm. Is this the same guy?" Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Which is cool. I mean, these guys are talented. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not just hacking their way through this music. Like,
No.
they got serious chops.
Definitely, yeah. So he had those chops before he got into BRIT, and then met those guys and stuff like that. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So their experience. It's cool to see that background.
Yeah.
It's cool to see people just, hey, I'm super good at the drums. I didn't know that. I just started playing last year, and I'm 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like, there's some stories like that out there too,
Yeah.
but this is not one of them.
No, yeah.
And I think they all had. I don't know. We didn't touch too much on their early stuff.
Yeah, I don't know too much about their early lives.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
I'm sure it's similar. I'm sure they had musical backgrounds similar to Morgan's.
yeah.
Because obviously he'd been doing this most of his life at this point.
Yeah. And he said, like, during COVID, like, he, because he said that, well, they've all said this a little bit, like, touring is like a thing where you're sort of out of control of your own life, because you're not really living your own life. You're just on the road in random places all the time playing music.
Right.
And they've said various things about that. Like, one, like, they would improvise and gigs and stuff like that, but their new material didn't really come out of that because they said they sort of were falling back on the same sort of ideas each time they jammed, and that was kind of a rut in itself for them, sort of thing. So they didn't really want to take anything they'd done there to bring into the studio for the album, sort of
Fair.
thing. And also, like Morgan said, like, he had the opportunity to just chill at home, spend a lot of time outside on his hammock, reading, like redecorating his space. So it was like more, like these just little things that he didn't have time for, or, to do because they're so busy with their tour schedule and all that.
Sometimes it's the little things you need to relax.
And also to not play drums, he said. He said in one interview, it's like, I got the opportunity to not play drums. And he was like, well, wait a minute, that sounds bad. It's like, I love playing drums.
Finally, I can stop playing. Jeez.
Yeah, he said he loves playing drums, but it was like, but taking that time out to just sort of chill in his hammock and read. And he started playing soccer with some friends. And
that
stuff
reminds
like
me of a quote I just came across. I can't remember who said it, but it was one that stuck in my brain. Is if you, it's like you want rest. People want to be like, how can I feel like relaxed and chill? Mm-hmm. And the quote goes, I'm paraphrasing, if you want rest, then seek work. And if you seek work, you'll find that rest.
Wow.
But if you're just seeking rest, you're just trying to go for rest, then you're gonna find boredom.
Yeah. Yeah. that makes sense.
You know, like, oh, what's the most relaxing thing I'm gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna turn on the TV and sit on my couch.
Yeah,
Saturday at noon.
yeah,
Like, okay, I'm bored.
yeah,
But if you like try to do something that that takes work
Yeah.
and energy,
yeah,
then you will feel accomplished and you'll be like, oh, I can take a break from doing that work, and you feel truly accomplished and restful
Yeah.
and at peace.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Man, you just said Saturday at noon, sitting down on the couch watching TV. I'd love to do that.
That sounds it is relaxing. That's
I record the drop on Saturdays at noon. So
Well, I know
not at noon, but like
I'm not talking about you, Jay. I know you're
Oh, I know. No,
extremely
no.
busy.
no, but I'm just saying like yeah, no, because it's like I get what you're saying though, like about
I just
you
picked
have
an
to- you have
arbitrary
to-
That was the first day and time I just picked out at random. It could have been any time at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's on different schedules. Like,
I could eat some cereal.
yeah.
Noon on a Sat. That's like some lyrics. You could make a song out of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Maybe that's a vibe.
yeah.
Some cartoons, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's true though. You have to kind of, in order to get rest, you need to be resting from something, right?
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
point of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Couldn't have said it better myself.
yeah. So, yeah, love it. Well, if you don't have anything else, this has been Black Midi, or you have something else?
No, let me just check.
Yeah.
No, I think that's all I got on Black Midi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They got stuff on vinyl. I would recommend, if you're a vinyl collector, this is some interesting stuff to add to your collection.
Oh, actually, that's an interesting thing you said about vinyl. That was one interesting thing they said in the Anthony Fantano interview was, I think it was the bass player, Cameron, that was talking about this. He said that their record label, because they're signed to Rough Trade, which is a pretty big label, had a lot of big artists go through there. They said they make the most money, the label makes the most money out of Black Midi through vinyl sales. And so, because they were asked about, when stuff is going to be released. And they said, well, as artists, we want to release stuff as soon as possible kind of thing. But apparently with the label, they make the money out of the vinyl. So they want to coincide the digital release with the vinyl release. So
Right.
and for people that don't know, during COVID it's harder to make vinyls, but even before COVID it was hard as well. There's a backlog because there's not actually a lot of places making vinyl, not many manufacturers making it, so they have this backlog. So it takes them about 5 or 6 months to get something pressed from when they finish the final master to getting it pressed.
The artwork, you know, all this stuff involved in making this product.
Yeah. So so that was just an interesting thing that I thought was like, oh, okay, yeah, because they want to the label want to make sure that when they put the release out on Spotify and all that, that there's a vinyl available as well, so that people can go and get that kind of thing. Yeah, and so that's kind of crazy.
No, that is interesting. But yeah, to what you're saying is, it can take a long. You can have these songs ready to go, like boom, we recorded them. They're finalized, they're mixed, they're mastered, they're final, they're done. We're excited about them. We want people to listen to it. And then you have to wait 6 or 10 months for it to actually be available to the public because of these logistical, issues.
Yeah.
Not issues, but
Realities.
That's the best way to say it. Yeah, because you want the full release. We want it on digital. We want people to be able to buy it physically on vinyl.
Yeah.
And it's awesome how vinyl is seemingly making a comeback. Almost every artist we talk about has stuff on vinyl.
Yeah.
Not one artist we've talked about is like, we just released on digital.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I think definitely pop artists probably don't do vinyl or many physical formats.
Right.
But for groups like this that have hardcore fans, and like you were saying earlier, their music's kind of challenging. So you have to be kind of that sort of headspace as a music listener to be listening to this band anyway.
Right.
And if you're in that space, you probably are into music and have a vinyl player and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So that totally coincides.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like, but like, I don't know how many people are getting Kanye West's latest album on vinyl. I don't know. Maybe he's doing it. Probably is. He's big enough to warrant that, probably. But like,
that's an exception.
Yeah.
Because he's at the top of the pop game, of
exactly.
the hip hop.
Yeah,
just pop culture in general.
Yeah.
And then with that, you can get some
Yeah.
things can come a little bit easier because you have a little bit more money. People know your name and respect you and want to work with you.
Yeah.
For example, but like you said, it's challenging.
Yeah.
And those people who like challenging stuff
Well, yeah.
like to listen to music that's more challenging. Like it's easy to put it on your phone, like play on Spotify.
Yeah.
It takes that much more work to get your vinyl out, put it on the player, put the needle on, and let it go.
But it's also and there's this famous article that's gone around the internet for years now, and I can't remember who wrote it. It might have been a book or an article, but it was about the concept of 1,000 true fans. Like, no matter what you're doing, you just need 1,000 true fans to make a living out of music or art or film or whatever. And the sentiment being is like, you know, for a band like Black Midi that are coming out with this type of music, you know, there's going to be at least 1,000 hardcore fans that will buy everything you put out.
Right.
That will actually put cash down to buy like a deluxe vinyl thing, you know, some merch, whatever it is that you're offering, kind of thing. They're enough of a fan to want to buy that stuff, to have that stuff. You know,
I mean, if 1,000 fans buy 1,000 vinyl copies for $20 a piece.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
What is that? $20,000?
Yeah. And so, like, you know, the bigger you get, the more of those thousands of fans you have, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not everyone, you know, like, you know, there'll be like maybe the rest of the people will be just streaming online and getting stuff for free and not hardcore enough to like buy anything kind of thing.
Pay for something.
Yeah. But I think that's an interesting thing about, you know, like making money out of music and making a living, a career out of music. That concept that this guy wrote about years ago still holds true. 1,000 true fans. Like, you know, you just need that little club of people that are just, you know, you will get the cool things that you want to make, that you want to put out. Like if it's a book, a photo book,
right,
coffee table book about the studio there I am, or some merch, some vinyl, whatever it is, kind of thing. You just like every group kind of needs that to sustain themselves, to be able to do it and not have to do something else like on the side kind of thing.
Yeah, you only need to build your own ecosystem.
Yeah.
You don't need everybody in the world to like what you're doing. And in fact, you know, you can accept, and we should all accept that not everyone's even going to like you as a person for whatever reason. Like simply, like people are going to like you, and some people are not for no reason or for every reason, whatever. But like everyone can accept that. I think that's a vague enough statement. Like, not one of us exists that everybody on the world is like, yeah, that guy's dope. Everything he does is fine. I don't have any problems with his beliefs, his stances on subjects or this or that. You know? So we just accept that. Not everyone's going to like you. And that's great. That's normal. That's healthy.
There you go. Yeah.
That's all I got on Black Midi.
Yes, this has been Rooster Grooves, and we're here every week. And if you want to say anything,
let us know if you got comments, questions, concerns, any cool facts about Black Midi, the band, or Black Midi, the genre of music. If you got any tidbits, let us know, and we'll bring it up on the next show. Or in a future show, whenever you email us. But Jay, give us that email.
rootstogrooves@signalradio.com, SIGNL radio.com. You can also just write a YouTube comment as well.
We'll do that. We'll bring that up on the show as well.
But yeah, let's play out with a track from their most recent album, second album, Cavalcade. I also wanted to say that they think their next album's going to come out probably before the end of this year, like in like 8 to 10 months sort of thing, because they said they've been spending all this time in the studio writing and recording, and they're like eager. Geordie's like talking about album 6 already, like he's like in interviews, partly joking, but I think partly serious. It's like they just want to keep moving and do things.
I think they got the energy to do it. I think they mean business. They're not just fooling around.
Exactly.
This is what they want. So I think they're getting it, and they're gonna have it.
He said the best ever. Like he's always talking about the best ever, but he says TBE, and he's always rocking a hat that says TBE written on it as well.
Did he make that up? That's his.
I don't know. I haven't come across it until hearing about his thing. But he was like, "Yeah, the next album's going to be the best ever." It's like the best album of 2021 of all time.
That's
of all artists.
I love that.
Whatever, you know?
I love that mindset.
Yeah,
it's going to be the best.
So let's play out with John L from their album Cavalcade. It was their first single from this album as well. I think there's a music video. I haven't seen it. I saw a thumbnail that looked crazy. So I gotta go check that out.
Let us know if you see it.
But yeah.
Until then, it's been Roots to Grooves. This is I'm Jesse.
I'm Jay.
I think we got that right.
And that's correct.
All right. Those are our names. Roots to Grooves out. Thank you.
Sonny boy, backed only by accordion. 3 rows of pale brunettes protect him from the crowd, and the curtain is a patchwork of imitation vermilion, and a red board hangs over the throne that has been found. This is a scene on Main Street when John 50 comes to town. Yes, this is a scene on Main Street when John 50 comes to town. Crowds of every age, creed, and gender are abound. Signl Kish sings skits detailing each attendee's sins. The first-time anteaters lose themselves in the wings. With vigor they scratch red spots, overwhelmed by their king. In all the world, there's no escape from this infernal din. In all the world, there's no escape from this infernal din. The children of Bethlehem, from all boys and girls, come listen to these, my eternal words. Judge not who you see by whatever they may say, but by their round eyes, lips, ears, and curves. A man is his country, your country is you. All bad is forewarned, all good will come true. These words are heard on Main Street when John 50 comes to town. Yes, these are the words of Main Street when John 50 comes to town. The garbling non-song whips strong into frenzy, and the echoes of his crooning now cease to be heard. No longer pale brunettes are broken in two and thrown to the snouts of the anteater crew. John 50 is in tatters, his soapbox usurped, his torn robe adorns the tree stumps of the earth. No half-driven army will last long before he breeds men who yearn for their own bloody glory. on Main Street when John 50 came to town. Yes, that was a scene on Main Street when John 50 came to town.
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signl Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.